Austin with the Limestone Library here, and thank you all for joining me as we take a look at a few different board games from around the world. These ones today are some of my favorites, and I think they're simple and easy enough to understand that we can have a quick little program with these. I am joined today by my lovely wife, Amy. I think you should be able to see her. She's going to be probably the victim in one of these games, and I think in the other two, I don't know. I'm not very confident. We have an exciting few games here. The first one, actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lower you guys so that you can see our different boards here. And let's see, I have it pretty well set for this one. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this so that we can do the first two. So, like I said, these are some board games from all around the world, and I'd be willing to bet that nobody's heard of any of them. I'm pretty confident about the ones that I picked. I think you guys are going to learn a lot here. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is on this board right here, and this game is called Butterfly. And there's a lot of really gorgeous butterfly boards that you can find, but it doesn't really matter. You can play this game in the sand with some lines, or you can do it like how we're doing it on a dry erase board. It really doesn't make an enormous difference. So with this game is actually, I think it's the most popular board game in Mozambique, in Africa, but I think it's definitely, if it's not the most popular one, it's definitely up there, and it's a pretty old game. So we're starting with this one because I think the rules are pretty close enough to checkers that I think you guys will probably be able to follow along quite nicely. So what we're going to do is we're each going to take, do you want white or black? We'll just say white goes first.
Oh God.
We're each going to take 9 different checkers, and I have a magnetic dry erase board here, and all the pieces are magnetic as well, so we have kind of a nifty setup here, but it's also low budget, so these games are good for that. They're all around the world, kids play them, all different kinds of stuff like that, so they don't really have to be that fancy. So I'll give you this side. But it doesn't really make a difference. And what we're going to do is we're going to put on each one of the dots, we're going to put one of our checkers on there. So we should end up with 9 with a space in the middle. And just like checkers, all of the pieces are the same. They all have the same powers. And to my knowledge, at least from the rules that... No, not in the middle. Yeah, there. And this middle stays open. So we have 19 different intersection points. The rules are very similar to checkers. I'm just going to check my notes here and make sure I have everything down correctly. We did step 1. We have all of our pieces set up. Step 2, the players take turns moving one of their counters into an empty place. So you're going to move one of these 3 into an empty square. And let's just go ahead and do that now. We'll sort of play as we go. But like I said, it's just like checkers. You jump pieces. So we can jump exactly like checkers, and you capture pieces just like checkers, and then we can continue moving to double jump, triple jump as needed. It doesn't say anything about having to go forward. I don't think you do have to go forward. The rules that I was able to find, I think you can go anywhere, both forward and backwards. So they are kind of all kings. Like in checkers. Now, if I'm incorrect, someone correct me, because these rules, this game, these rules were really hard to find. So I might not have the perfect ones. So if I have more than one possible jump, I can pick. But if I have a jump, just like in checkers, I must take it. But it's a little bit different here. In checkers, you have to take it. It's an illegal move if you don't make the jump. In this one, if I were to do a different move, I would actually lose the checker that I moved if I didn't jump. So, like, if I don't do this jump and I move like a checker back here, I lose the checker back here if you catch me. Okay? And that's it. It's just like checkers. So I'm going to jump over here, and I have the jump, and we'll take that.
So then can I do, like, a jump like that?
No. So
It
you have
has to be...
you have to stay. They all have to be lateral movements, and that's what the lines are for. The lines tell you exactly how to move.
Like I said, I only have one.
Yeah. You only have one move. Got that. And then it doesn't look like I have anything here. So why don't let's shuffle on over here to the side, and I should probably pick the pieces up so that we're not wiping away the board. And these games are nice. They go awfully quick, which is what I really like. They're usually just really quick, like 5-minute games, and it is sort of on a smaller. Well, it's on a smaller board than checkers, so you're not really thinking as much. I don't think.
What's the objective?
The objective is simply to capture all the checkers. It's exactly like checkers, but it's on a very interesting board. So, I think I'm gonna go here. Okay, and I think you could have taken me backwards.
Like on this one?
Well, with this one, I think you could have came back and taken me backwards, but now I can go here and then here.
Darn. How did I know I was gonna lose?
Now this is we call it checkers, but I think it's closer to English drafts. So if you guys at home have ever played a drafts, it's on a bigger board than checkers, and it's the same thing. They all move like kings, and when they queen, they get the powers of a chess bishop, so they can just move diagonally as far as they want. Okay, so let's just move up here.
Can I move back?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That sounds stupid, though.
Yeah, there's not really a reason why you wouldn't be able to. Actually, in drafts, you can't go backwards. You have to capture backwards. That's the only way to go backwards. So maybe it's not the exact same. But since you can force captures, no one can really just sit back and turtle because you can force people to capture things. And we're getting near the end here, so hopefully we can just get trading some pieces off. Here. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that game in Cracker Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty similar. Okay. We'll jump this way. Make sure we don't get caught out and get trapped. Keep our buddy system. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I should do?
Okay. I don't want to do that, so we'll just here.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
What did you...
I thought I was going to be able to go here, here, here.
Oh, that's funny.
I guess I've just like lost.
Yeah.
But
you want to resign, or should we play it out
play it
out to the end here? Okay.
Maybe there's a weird move.
There could be. There's other games. Some of the games that we're going to look at Saturday. Actually, one of them is annoying for that. It seems like the game. It seems like it doesn't really end.
I give up.
Yeah. Okay. So. So with games like this, these games are closer to chess. Once you kind of get behind a piece, you don't have too much of a chance. The next game that we're looking at is quite a bit different. Do you want to move first in the next game, or should I tell you the rules first? How about we do? Let's. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move. We're gonna put the black pieces here, and I'm gonna move this just here. Make sure that we're in good camera view. And okay, so we'll have 4 black pieces here and 4 white pieces here. And okay, so the last one. So yeah, the last one was called Butterfly. This one, not quite as easy to pronounce. I'm going to do my best. It's called Mu Torere. And this one has, this one probably has my most favorite story behind it. So it's a board game invented by, or at least it was popularly played. We think it was invented by indigenous New Zealanders. And so there are a lot of indigenous tribes in New Zealand that play this game. It might have even sort of spread to Australia as well, but I don't know about that. But this one's funny. It's, you know, there's only 4 pieces, so it seems like a really simple game. Now, the story behind it is that one of the chiefs of a tribe in New Zealand wanted to play the game with the governor in New Zealand. I don't know if New Zealand has. I don't know if the governor is the head honcho of New Zealand, but that was this was sort of the main idea of the story. So he wanted to play a game with them, and the winner gets to own the country. So they were playing for the country. I don't know if it was sort of. I don't think it was the entirety of New Zealand, but I think maybe like a county in New Zealand or whatever the equivalent is. And the governor turned it down because he knew, well, the tribes in New Zealand, they play tourists in this game and they take a lot of money from the tourists. So it's almost like when you go to Chicago for chess or New York as well. And it's a real attraction because this game looks really simple. There's only 4 pieces for each side, but you know there is a lot of skill. Some of the masters in this game can look up to 40 moves ahead. So I'm not good at this game. So what's the point of this game? The point of this game is to make it so that your opponent can't move. That's it. We don't capture pieces or anything like that. So already it's incredibly different from chess and checkers. So that's the point, to try to make it so that your opponent can't move. Now you start the game by, we can just say that white moves first. But you start the game by moving one of your they're called counters in this game, to an empty point. So it's not a square or anything like that, it's a point. So you're going to move one of your counters to the center here, and then you take turns doing that. So this is going to be a little weird reading my notes and then going back and forth. I got to make sure that it picks up the sound here. So like I said, each player controls 4 counters, and they're placed on the board like this. Everything fine. Now, at the beginning of the game, after we move it to the empty point, again, we can only move it to an adjacent point. So if one piece is like this, we can't go here. We can't jump all the way there. And if for some reason it's like this, we can't go 2. I don't even know what that would look like. There's no jumping or anything like that, so you're just moving to the next point. You're just following the lines on the octagonal board. Okay, where are we at here? Only onto an adjacent. And you can only move to the center of the board when one of your counters is next to an enemy counter. So if you were moving white first, you would only be able to do these 2 moves. You can't do these 2 moves, because those 2 are next to your counter. It has to be next to an enemy counter. And I think that is it. So the one to win is the one that blocks the opponent from doing any moves. Simple enough?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want white or black?
I don't care.
Okay.
I went white first.
Okay, so I'll take white here, I guess, and let's go here. This game is a little bit faster paced, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, so doesn't look like I have a choice here. Don't I have to, kind of have to go here. So there's a lot of situations where you'll be in, sort of like a forced move, where you kind of have to do a certain move. So now you have 3 different moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel about it when I play it. It's like, okay, well, this is all it's all totally new to me. Okay, and yeah, once again, I only have one move. Sounds like that's good for you. Okay. So I kind of want to make it to where those pieces can't move. These guys, I think. So maybe we'll go here. I think maybe taking control of the center is sort of the object, but I'm not sure, since it does seem to be limited. Okay, so we'll do this. Yeah, then you have that, and then I think I have to get my counter out of there. So this is, well, the interesting thing, every move is the same now, because it's all symmetrical. So that's kind of funny. And I think these two moves are the same as well, all symmetrical. Yeah, you do that. I have to do this. I feel the same way. This one's a harder one. I think it's a really different style of thinking. I don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, but there are apparently masters in this, and if you can think 40 moves ahead in this, I can see how that would be a tremendous advantage.
Well, part of me is like, well, do I move back to allow you to do that, or do I just keep moving?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I feel like I've got control of the center.
Yeah, right. Why would you want to give it up? That makes sense. But now you have to give it up, and now we're sort of in the same position. So, I think for the sake of the video, and I have no idea what I'm doing, I'd like to offer you a draw, because we are in the same position. Do you want to take it and move on to the next one?
That is fine.
Okay, because I've played this game before, and against the computer, and I've done this. And this is probably the only one of these games, I think, out of the 6 that we're going to look at, not today, but the 3 on Saturday. This game can take a long time, I think. So that one, if someone wants to play Mutarere with me and whoop up on me, I am open to it, because I have no clue how to play this game. Okay, so let's move on. This one is my favorite, and I know that Amy has at least once or twice heard me talk about it. Okay, I think we're good here.
I know I have no chances of winning.
Well, so this one, I'll set the board up before and sort of talk through as we go here. And actually, what I'm gonna do, I need the king.
You're so funny.
Well, because this one, for this, it's actually important. It does actually have to be the king. And then I need a few more. See, I've always only played this on the computer. This is actually the first time I've set up a board for this game. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do 3 here and then 1 here on every side. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 here, and that's how you set it up for the outside pieces. No, we have enough. Don't worry, I counted. Don't worry, I counted. Can you imagine? Okay, so this one already. I hope you guys are intrigued, because this one is probably unlike, well, at least at the time, it was unlike any board game that I had ever seen, because it wasn't just one side versus the other. Even this one, it kind of at least started out as one side versus the other. But here, it's totally different. You have 2 totally different roles depending on which color you are or which side you are. So this game is called Tabloot. It is very near and dear to my heart. When I play Tabloot, it makes me feel like I'm using the same part of my brain as chess. So if you guys like chess, I think you're going to like this one. Now, Tabloot is it's a Nordic game, and the colors for them, it's not. They do play with white and black checkers, but they call them something different. I don't remember exactly what they call them, but the setup goes exactly like this. And traditionally, it is played on a 9x9 mat of embroidered reindeer hide. If you can't just find that laying around at your local Michael's, I guess, then I'm sure something like this will do. So the setup is like this. The goal of the game, if you're playing white, or we can also call them the defenders. If you're playing white, the goal of the game is to get your king to anywhere on the outside of the board, and that's it. And the goal for black is to capture the king. The attackers, being black, their goal is to attack and capture the king. How does movement work? Now, movement, every piece in Tableau moves exactly like a rook in chess. So they all, and Amy's, I can see the wheels turning. Oh man, it's been a while since we played chess.
It's just your mastermind.
It moves in the shape of a plus sign. So, what are you doing here? You're just changing it to a pawn? Oh, yeah. You're so funny. And then there's a pawn over here if we really want to do this. So every piece moves in the shape of a plus sign. It can go forward, backwards, sideways, not diagonal. And you may move as many squares as you want. Now, capture, if I'm correct, works in the same, just like in the board game. I think it's Rummy or Gin Rummy. I don't know any of those games. I'll just explain how capturing works. Capturing works by surrounding an enemy piece on two different sides. So if you surround it like this, you capture it. Okay?
That's not Gin or Rummy.
That's not Gin or Rummy, so I'm just making stuff up? Mm-hmm. Okay, it wouldn't be the first time. So, there's some game that works like, is it Parcheesi?
I don't think so.
No? Alright, well, someone can hopefully correct me and enlighten me on my other board games. But, yeah, so you get one piece on one side, and you just have to surround the piece on two sides. That's all. Now, there is a castle in Tableau, and that's the center square. That's where the king lives. The king lives in the castle. No one can go through the castle. The castle is a big castle, so it's just kind of like a solid square. You can't go through it. You have to go around the castle. No one may enter the castle, even the king. As soon as the king leaves the castle, the king may not go back into the castle. There are some variants of Tableau where they play like that, where the king can go back in the castle. The truth is, we're not sure which one is correct because of translation errors from the ancient Nordic countries. So we're not entirely sure, but we're going to play where if the king leaves the square, he can't go back. Cool. Now, the castle, once the king leaves the castle is hostile to every piece. So what does that mean? That means that if the king is, that was nice. If the king's not in the castle, that means that you can capture pieces like this, where you have an enemy piece on this side, castle on the other side, and you take that piece. Mm-hmm. That also means that you can capture the king like that. If you get like this and the king's like this, you win the king and you win the game. So, very important to pay attention to the castle and whether the king is home or not, so to speak. We talked about moving through the castle. Can't move through the castle, and that's it.
How do the pieces move again?
They move like a rook. So they move as many squares as you want. You can't jump pieces. You can't move through pieces, anything like that. So it moves like a rook in chess and stops when you want it to, or when it hits another piece.
Including the king. Including
the king, yep. Do you want to play white, the defenders, or black, the attackers? Oh, and black goes first. It doesn't say that in my rules. I took bad notes. Come on,
I don't care.
You don't want me to pick. Okay. I'll give you the defenders.
Okay.
The defenders are easier.
Okay.
It's much easier to get your king to the outside of the board than it is for
It
me
doesn't have to be a corner.
contain.
It just has to be.
Just has to be on any outer edge. So you can see how that might be really easy, but it's also really easy to mess up and lose your king. Now, some of the strategy here, if you can maybe get your king to a square like this, where they can go to two different edges, you're going to win. So it's important to look for forcing moves like that if you can. All right, now, my turn. I start. I'm going to go here. It's a rough game. All the pieces are really, really fast, which is, I think, unlike any other board game I've played. Ah, good. Oh boy. Ah! We can go here and win. Okay. Why don't we switch sides?
I don't want to play again.
You don't want to play again?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll show you a quick tip for the defending side, for the white pieces. Now, for the white pieces, there's a really interesting geometrical trip that I have for you guys. Did I say that right? Geometrical tip, not trip. I think I said tip. But a really important geometrical tip for you guys. Since the pieces are captured, when you have a piece on each side like this, when you're surrounding a piece on two sides, it doesn't count diagonally. So the way that you want to set up your pieces is that you want to do moves exactly like that. And if you're really good, not me, if you're really good, you can do moves like this and sort of try to set up a wedge to sort of slowly move the king to the corner, and it's really hard to play against that. But yeah, you can sort of, if you're playing a total beginner, so listen here, kids, if you want to beat your parents at this game, you'll do moves like this as the defending side, and like this, and like this, and like this, so that you're covering all of your, you're staying diagonal to your pieces, but you're sort of covering your pieces' sides. And that way, even if, this piece gets captured by, something, I'm not even actually sure what I'm going for. Yeah, I guess something like this, hopefully, actually, just right here, you can back that piece up, and then you can take it back. So that's a really good basic setup to know, before you get into the advanced stuff, where you're just forcing your way to the edge of the board, which is some impressive stuff if you can pull it off. So, all right.
And just like chess, we got a beginner versus a master.
Yeah, well, I'm not a master at this game. I don't know. This game's hard. It's a different one. That's kind of what I wanted to show you guys today. A lot of these are very different, maybe from any other game that you've seen before. So, I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and I'll be doing another one of these Saturdays. So look forward to that. Saturday's games, I think, are harder. So they're harder for me too. So all right. See y'all later. Bye.